My name's Nevil Tynemouth, and I'm here from an organisation called New Results Training. What we do is we help businesses make more profit from their sales activity. And we do that in three ways. We do basic sales training, so for brand new salespeople into your organisation, we help them make more profit and sell for you more quickly. We do sales coaching for the most experienced sales individuals or sales teams. We help them find more opportunities with their existing customers, and we help them find new customers as well. Thirdly, we do sales consultancy. Our sales consultancy is a back-to-basics program to understand how you do your selling, what is it you do, how the process works, and helping you to improve that process. So it might surprise you to know that I've been invited along today to talk about sales, surprisingly. What I'm hoping to do is take the next 30 minutes or so to give you some tips, tools and techniques that you might find useful, potentially take back to your business, apply straight away. I've only got about 30 minutes and I've been told I'm on a very tight schedule now, so if I rattle through things, apologies. To me, selling is the most fundamentally important thing for your business. You need to be selling your products or services all the time. If you don't sell, and you're not one of those really fortunate organisations where customers come to you, that's the only way you're going to get money through your business. You really need to think about selling, how you sell, how your sales process works, how you sell or your salespeople perform for you. I think selling is actually a fairly straightforward process. I would do because it's my job, that's what I do, sales. But actually, like a lot of very simple processes in life, it's very easy to get it wrong. It's very easy not to do it as well as you possibly could every single time. So what I'd like to do is just give you 5 ideas, my 5 ideas, what I think might be 5 top tips to build your sales ability. They are: understanding your customers' requirements, your 60-second or elevator pitch, a look at the difference between suspects, prospects and customers. My personal favourite, price versus value. I've had a couple of interesting examples of that today already. And then lastly, getting more from your existing customers. So that's what I'm hoping to cover the next 30 minutes or so. I've also been told, sorry, if I wander too far, the cameraman gets upset. So if I suddenly start bouncing about, it's just to see if he can keep up with me. He's looking upset. So, first things first, understanding your customers' requirements. This is a fundamental point when it comes to selling. Customers are the lifeblood of your organisation. If they're not, they really should be. They're the ones that pay the bills, give you the money, hopefully, sometimes pay the invoices, that actually allows your business to continue growing. You really need to understand exactly what it is you're doing for them and how you're working with them. You need to understand what they require, and you need to make sure that whatever you're offering, be it a product or a service, is what they want. Sounds straightforward, doesn't it? But how do you do that? If you find yourselves in a sales situation at any time and you're talking more than you're listening, the balance isn't quite right. And let me explain what I mean by that. We have a nice little expression in selling, and that's you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should use them in that proportion. So you need to be listening for twice as long as you're talking in a customer environment. And again, that sounds fairly straightforward. I'm just going to listen to my customers. But how do you listen to your customers? How do you kind of get them to talk? You need to think about asking some big, expansive questions of your customers. You need to ask things like, tell me about your business. What are your growth plans over the next few years? What are your competitors doing? What are the biggest issues you face as an organisation? That's living in your customer's world. Once you get to understand what your customers are doing, you understand their marketplace, their staff, their employees, their competitors, you're in a better position to start offering products and services that suit them. You're in a much, much stronger position. Once you live in their world and understand their requirements, you stand a much better chance of selling to them. The more you listen, the more you understand. The more you understand, the more opportunities you spot to sell your product or service. Very straightforward. I want to try and explain why this is so important with a little bit of an example. Imagine you go to the doctor's and you say to the doctor, oh, a really bad knee, really struggling, I can't get up, whenever I sit down I can't stand back up, really, really bad. The doctor says, yeah, that's fine, what you need is a migraine tablet. Off you go, thank you very much. You walk out with a migraine tablet thinking, that's a bit strange, isn't it? I'll try it, but you know, I've got a bad knee. And the doctor's sitting there thinking, well, the last patient I had, I gave him a migraine tablet, he had a pain and it was fantastic. Doesn't quite work like that, does it? Doctors need to ask questions to diagnose the issues. Yeah, they can't just guess, they have to kind of work with you and ask you questions to establish what it is you've got wrong with you to make a diagnosis. It's exactly the same for selling. If you ask questions of your customers, if you really understand them, you can make the right diagnosis in a sales aspect. You can actually sell the appropriate products or services. So ladies and gentlemen, that's top tip number 1, really understanding your customers' requirements. Number 2, the elevator pitch. Can I have a quick show of hands? Who knows what the elevator pitch is? About 50-50-ish. The elevator pitch, like a lot of good things, originally came from the States. And let me give you a little bit of background. The elevator pitch came about, it's a kind of a sales method, a sales idea, but let me give you an example that explains how it works. If you imagine for a minute, and some of you, this will be very easy, some will be quite hard, you're an IT firm. You sell every single thing to do with IT. Servers, laptops, printers, printer cables, mouse mats, the entire lot. You have what you think is a really big organisation that you really want to get into. They invite you in, which is fantastic, but they invite you in just to talk about your mouse mats and your printer cables. You're not going to turn down the opportunity, but actually you want to get in there and you want to sell everything. But you think, great, I'll go along. So you turn up this big impressive building in the middle of New York and you sign in at reception. Reception say, yes, that's fantastic. Our IT department's on the 42nd floor. Great, you think. I'm here to talk about mouse mats, I'm here to talk about printer cables. You get in the lift, press button number 42, and the doors are just about to close. When in steps an extremely smartly dressed lady. She looks at you and introduces herself and says, hi, I'm the MD, the managing director of this organisation. And you think to yourself, God, fantastic. The MD, the perfect person to speak to sell all of my products and services, not just the mouse mats and the printer cables, but everything I do in IT, I can sell to this person. Isn't that fantastic? Now, in reality, a lot of my customers, a lot of people I speak to, a lot of people I see day to day, panic at that point. If they were faced with that situation, that perfect sales opportunity, they would panic because they hadn't thought about it, they hadn't prepared it, they wouldn't have an effective 60-second pitch or even some words, some phrases, some key expressions to have to go out and speak at straight away. And the 60-second pitch or the elevator pitch gets used absolutely everywhere. It's not just for the elevator, not just for the lift if you're in the UK. If you think about networking events, if you think about what's happening downstairs, how many times have you said to somebody or somebody said to you today, so what is it you do? Do you have a really snappy way of describing what your business does, how it works, and how it benefits your customers? You might not. In every aspect of selling, and especially so in your 60-second or elevator pitch, your customers are tuned into one radio station. This radio station here. Radio WII-FM. Some of you might have heard of this before, some of you might not. All the time, that's all customers can hear. Radio WII-FM. For those of you not familiar with this, that stands for What's in it for me? In reality, that's all customers want to know. That's all they want to understand. They're not really concerned about how many years you've been established, how many customers you have, what range of products or services you might offer, where your office is, how many people you employ. That's all lovely stuff. But what they really need to understand is what's in it for them. If they buy a product or a service or a solution for you, how is it going to benefit them? Think about this yourselves. When you're talking to customers, do you find yourself talking about the products and services you offer rather than how it might benefit people? And let me give you a really quick example to demonstrate this. We're not selling IT anymore, don't worry. We've moved on. We're all now selling stationery. And you might find yourself, as somebody downstairs might say to you, we have the biggest range of stationery in stock in the northeast. Fantastic, that's really quite a useful thing, yeah? Loads of stationery. But actually, customers are just thinking, well, what does that mean for me? You need to link that, keep that original statement, link it, and explain the benefit to customers. So keep the original statement, which was, we have the biggest range of stationery in stock in the northeast, which means, as you link, our customers get all their stationery in one order, only have one supplier to manage, which means they have more time to concentrate on their core business. How much more powerful does that statement sound? It just makes customers understand what it is you're doing and what benefits you're going to deliver. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're talking to customers, live in their world, think about what's important to them and sell the benefits of your products and services. Don't just sell the features of your products and services. The elevator pitch is really, really crucial, can be used everywhere, and getting a pitch that talks about how you benefit customers is absolutely critical. Think about giving some examples. If you've worked with organisations in the northeast and you can name them and say, we've worked with firm XYZ, and for that firm we're able to increase profits by 10% and reduce their stock holding by 15%, that becomes really powerful as well. Just think about it. You've made a reference to a customer that's a real customer, and you've put some real figures in there. People understand that. I've increased profit for somebody, and I've reduced their stock holding. That's things they're interested in. Your customers, whether they're consumers or businesses, are interested in making more profit, reducing costs, improving their efficiency, or making their life easier, saving themselves some time. That's all they're interested in. If you can get down to that and explain why your products or services do that, they'll be interested. So that's top tip number 2. Your elevator pitch, your 60-second pitch, and why it's important.